Does Spotify
Hello, everybody.
Hi, welcome to Carfitable Talk.
Yep, we're having another Carfitable Talks.
No, it's a talk today.
Talk, but it's talks. We've already got Jesse Chambers has joined us, and we're going to wait for a few people to come on. But today we're going to have a really exciting conversation talking about especially the Christian music industry and how it intersects with the gospel music industry. And we're talking to two real big wigs today. We've got Ed Leonard and Joey Elwood, who are just huge in this industry and have been head of GMA and some other places, and they're going to tell us a little bit about all that. And in the state of where we are today, we've got our producer helping there.
Oh, it's not letting me. Hold on.
She's unable to join.
Can you press
Hello?
request?
We're waiting to get everybody on. I see Patrick Henderson.
Where?
AJ.
I'm talking to. Sorry. Ed, do you see something that says?
See Alicia. Hey, Alicia. D Maestro. Hi, you guys. Good to see you.
Do you see anything that says request?
We're trying to get the guys on now, so.
It's not letting me allow you to join.
That's all the people that are.
It says unable to join.
Huh.
I see him. Don't look. It's not letting me to join. Child, 1 second.
You guys, we haven't left. We're just trying to get our guests on.
They can still see you with the camera.
Oh, you can still see us. We're just.
Is there a way for you to press to request? Is there a way? Is there something that you see that says request?
I'm so happy to see Patrick Henderson. I hope a lot of you know Patrick, and Alicia, of course, who's a rapper with A1 Swift. You see LaShawn Cleveland, Jeffrey Lampkin. We're excited to have all of you on. And we're just trying to get our guests on. But in the meantime, I guess we can kind of talk about what's been going on these days. Can you see us, by the way? I know it looks a little extra dark. And I'm a chocolate girl, so I got to always get my light. Okay, you can see us. Okay. So, we had the Democratic convention this week. How did you guys like that? I thought it was a little slow. It wasn't overly invigorating to me, but I'm excited. And we're going to be talking to two Tennesseans who have got a lock on Trump. So this ought to all be extremely interesting.
They don't have a lock on Trump.
Who, Tennessee?
No, you say we're talking to two people that have a lock on Trump.
They're from Tennessee.
They're from Tennessee, so.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of. They're from a place where they've got a lock on Trump, which is Tennessee, and we're from LA, where we tend to be more pro Biden and Harris. So how many of you guys saw that? Who saw that? Patrick saying he was a bad director. Yeah, I don't know what it was, but it was.
I'm trying to see who trying to find. Oh, there he is. Oh, he still says unable to join.
Huh. What?
We're trying to get our guests on. We haven't. Let me just wave. They're still trying to get everything set up so they could join us.
Yeah, because we really want to get into something I think we haven't talked about a lot, which is between the Christian and gospel community, this whole Black Lives Matter and all of that. It seems like that community is not...
Should we send out a request?
I don't know if we're really getting on it. Oh, Shami's helping us. Let's see what we've got now, if we can get him on.
It's still there.
Try exiting out of the live. And
We're
then
having a little bit of difficulty with that. Oh, Alicia, you like Michelle Obama and what she had to say?
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about that while you guys are doing this because it's
Yeah.
still recording. So
Okay, it's still recording.
We're getting a request from Don Kaysen.
Oh, Don Kaysen.
We're getting a request from.
Did you get him in?
So Don Kaysen sent a request to be on the video.
It's Don. He's not Ed Leonard though.
No. Is Ed Leonard is working with him to use
No,
this?
it's
Okay.
yeah.
We're on.
We're on
live. We're on live.
Okay.
Gosh, I'm sorry we're having a little bit of a problem. Don't leave us, you guys. It's going to be so exciting.
When you get back in, just let me know.
Yeah, we have.
Mark,
We can
call
tell
him.
a little bit about who Ed Leonard is.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about
'cause
Ed Leonard.
Ed is.
Gotta move in a little bit.
He's president of Daywin, which is a distribution company. They have a record label, the distribution company. So he's pretty involved. I think he's affiliated. Also, he's a member of GMA, and
Yes.
also
Hasn't even Ed's been president of GMA.
I think he's president of
Yeah,
GMA.
absolutely.
And then we have. He's also part of this committee. He was elected to this committee that's related to the Music Modernization Act, and so we're really excited to talk to him. And then
Oh, I see. Excuse me.
there he is.
Do you have them now? Are they coming on? Yeah, I hope so.
Disconnected.
Yes, let's connect. All right. Hey, guys.
They're in the car too, so
Yeah,
we're
they're
both
being
doing
car
this thing in the
fittable.
car. So let's see. Introduce yourself so they'll know.
Yeah, you guys got to get closer together. We've got hands and everything. Well, Ed, can you hear us?
I think it might be internet on their side.
Oh,
Okay,
it might be
yeah.
the internet on their side. I see Bobby Parker. Hi, Bobby. Ed, can you hear us?
I don't think so.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, 'cause
Oh,
we don't
gosh.
have his audio. His audio is not good.
It's on their side.
Okay.
Oh. What?
They're,
Well, we were told him this would be so easy, and I don't know what's going
It should be a problem for them to go to a Starbucks. They won't kick them out.
The Starbucks. Saying
A picture of Ed on the screen. Okay, he's probably coming back in. Let me see. And then we have Joey Elwood, who's interesting. He's a member of the Gotee brothers, which is a singing group, and then he's also founder and I guess was president of Gotee
president of
Records
Gotee Records, yeah, as well. So
with Toby Mack and then with folks. Oh, he's coming back in here. Here we go.
I'm trying it again. Stay with us, you guys. Don't leave. This is gonna be so good, so good, so good. Okay.
I think we got it.
Oh,
Okay,
yay! We can't see you so well. Maybe we should get in the front seat, Ed.
Okay, Joe.
oh, that works.
How's that?
That's good. You got
That's good.
we got you both in.
Okay,
got
okay,
you
so
both.
we're on. So we've been talking a little bit about you guys. We're so excited to have you, and you're in your cars, we're in our cars, and we're just totally excited about it. And Ed, why don't you tell a little bit about yourself in terms of, we want to know all the fancy stuff about you, that you're president of this and head of that and all those kind of things.
I've been very blessed. I work for my mom, who started a company 40 years ago called New Day Christian Distributors. And, you know, I had gone to college. I grew up in Nashville, but I'm from New Jersey. And I'd gone to college at Notre Dame, got my MBA at University of Chicago, and after that moved down here to help with the business. And one of the first things she told me was, I want you to get involved in the community. And so I went and met Don Butler and then Bruce Koblish at GMA, and Joey and I were on the board of GMA at like 34 years old. We were the young guys in the room, and now look at me. At least Joey still looks the same. I look old, but
I see you, Joey.
It happens. But I've been president of GMA, and I'm currently president of the Christian Music Trade Association. I work a lot in Washington, you know, advocating on the behalf of Christian and gospel artists and labels and things like that. And went back and got my law degree as a result of that experience from Belmont. And I, you know, spend most of my time working for Day One Records and New Day Christian Distributors, working with artists and songwriters and labels, you know, the whole creative community. It's really a dream job.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, your mom is, and I've said this before, she is a role model for me. I don't know if all you guys out there are aware of who Dottie Leonard Miller is, but this woman is at the forefront of women owning labels. I think she's the first to have a successful, especially faith-based label. Is that true?
Yes.
What I'm saying? Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, she came way before we did, and she's a woman that I really admire. I like her personality because she's no mess around, no fuss, and I'm kind of in that same thing. And how she's lasted so long has been amazing. And now you're there with her, and I think that I just admire her immensely, and we got to talk to her sometimes as well. But then we've got Joey. And Joey, I was just looking on Wikipedia and at your bio, and I actually learned some new things about you. Like, you guys started a label because Out of Eden wasn't getting signed. You tell me a little bit about that and your beginnings. I'm wondering about that. I have a question about that too.
Yeah, it really came from an artist like my partner Toby. He was out on the road and he was just meeting a lot of different artists and said, "Hey, look, we should start a production company and find some artists because there's a lot of kids out here that I just think there's a big opening. We could help make some music for some kids out here in the church." And very early on, somehow or another, Toby came across the Out of Eden girls through a producer actually, and we made 3 songs hoping to get them on a label. And you know, I think there was one label. I think Forefront would have signed them, but we started thinking about it, and some of the things that we were talking about in some of the meetings, we're like, oh man, these girls are young. They were 13, 15, and 17, which was super.
Really?
It's super young.
Yeah,
Oh
super
my god.
Yeah. There were 3 young black girls at that, and
Yeah.
I was wondering if that was one of the issues with it, and
maybe
contemporary Christian music and being young black women. I don't know.
I think so. I mean, I think it was anything from hey, black people don't listen to this kind of music as worst case scenario to I don't know if we can help them because what we do is we market to 55-year-old women, or it was all along the spectrum of what people were saying. But there was definitely some weird conversations we had for sure. Yeah. But so we just decided really to pull it together and try it ourselves, which was pretty naive because, I mean, you guys started your own label.
Yeah, and we did.
It was pretty naive too.
Yeah, I was like, were we crazy? How did we start to do that?
This right here, I mean, it's probably genetics, but some of it is early indie label stuff right here, man. I kept rubbing my head all the time, every day. And mine's for my 9 kids. Yeah, man. Gray hair.
Then we gotta talk about all your kids.
9 kids, y'all. So.
Yeah. But yeah, so anyways, they just, we just decided to give it a shot. We made every mistake you could possibly make early, but you know, we got really fortunate a couple times, and because of that, we kept getting punted upfield a little bit, and we tried to kill it 3 or 4 times. we,
You were
we were
successful.
so bad, we were so bad we couldn't even kill the label. That's how bad we were.
Well, you guys are out here
Now,
now doing your thing.
I wanted to talk just comment a little bit because you guys, you were part of a group too at the same time, the Gotee brothers.
Yeah.
And you guys did a song called Erase.
Yep, it was yep.
And it means it was eradicating racism and some.
What was it?
It was eliminating racism and creating equality.
Creating equality. And so it just seems like you guys were really ahead of your time in terms of speaking to and trying to address some of these issues that are currently being kind of talked about and expressed in the media and stuff like that. But you guys, this is really early on that you guys were trying to speak to that.
That was 94.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's over 20 years
How
ago.
were you received with all that back then? Because
I think it was a mix. It was a mixed bag, like anything. I mean, I think there are people. One thing for sure, I don't think anybody wanted to hear 10 songs about racism because we didn't sell many records. Maybe one song they would have stomached, but 10, I don't know, man. They're like,
I don't want to hear too much about it.
we'll take one, Joey. That's all we got.
Welcome to 1994, then.
Interesting.
But you guys have been involved in so many. We want people to know who you guys are, and because you've been involved in so much, and we think that people, especially our friends and the people that listen to what we're doing on IGTV, need to know who you are exactly and what you've been doing in our community. A lot of people, especially gospel people, Black people, in Christian music and stuff, they don't know who you are, and we want to kind of open that up so that we can communicate better and know what you're doing. So, Ed, why don't you tell Claude has some specific questions too.
Well, no, you mentioned a couple of organizations that have specific relevance. One is the trade association, because they manage a lot of the SoundScan information for the Christian and gospel music industry, and it's a collection of I guess distributors, labels, and I don't know if they've added print and other folks in that organization.
Most of the big labels right now.
Right. So the big three. So a little bit, I mean, some of the role, it's a trade organization, so it speaks for and tries to, especially in the form of, what's going on with not litigations, but laws and stuff like that. But particularly how they manage and make available the SoundScan information and what they're doing new in terms of streaming and things like that, and all that data, how you guys are working with that.
So tell us a little bit more about that. People are saying extremely informative, so they really want to know. I think a lot of people probably don't know about CMTA or CMPA.
Sure. From the CMTA side,
yeah,
it's the labels, and they deal with SoundScan, and now it's called Music Connect. But basically, it started to try and do things together that the individual labels couldn't do as effectively among them or by themselves. So SoundScan was a nice project to pick up, and it tracks all of the sales of Christian music, which for a long time were physical, and then downloads came, and now streaming. So if you look at a chart today, at least on the sales side, it's going to include all of the streams that occur across, certainly the Christian and gospel genres, and then on the radio side, they measure by technology that listens to the radio stations and create charts for both Christian and gospel music. Recently we've done a lot of advocacy work on behalf of well, I mean, we're very involved in the Music Modernization Act passage and the
What
resulting
is that
mechanism.
We'll
exactly?
circle back to that. Yeah.
So it is a 4 or 5 part act that basically rights some wrongs. The most interesting one to me is that satellite radio was not required to pay royalties to Sound Exchange on songs that were pre 1972 because of a glitch in the Copyright Act. And so this fixes that. It enables producers to get paid when the artists that they produce, the music that they produce, gets played on Sirius XM, for example. Producers can get paid more easily. But one of the biggest things it did was enabled the digital service providers, so Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and the like, to find and easily pay the songwriters and the publishers for the songs that they were playing.
Okay.
So
Right.
it created this mechanical licensing collective, the MLC, which is about to debut very soon. I've seen the portal that the writers and the publishers go and register their works, and they've started with a very large database that the Harry Fox Agency has, but individual writers and publishers can go and put their works in very easily and make sure that they get paid when their song is streamed on the DSPs. So it's a very major process, but it looks like it's going to be very user friendly, and people will be able to collect money and from the DSPs on their streams.
What's a DSP?
So it's a digital service provider. So Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon, Google Play, those kind of things.
When do you think it's going to come online? I know it was a big deal. Very, you didn't speak to that, but it's a big deal that we got. Not only did we get the creators of the music, but the distributors of the music all coming together and agreeing to put this database, this collective together. And it's, I guess what does it do to come online?
The beginning of January.
Wow, very
so
soon.
it's still on track for that.
It's on track. I mean,
and everything else going on, you guys are pressing, pushed on.
They're staffed up. They're going to be based in Nashville, and it's just it seems like a great organization so far. I serve on the dispute resolution committee.
Yeah, speak to that a little bit.
So if somebody has a dispute as to whether they own 30% of the song or 50% or 100% of the song, our committee was designed to create the mechanisms online and through the organization where those disputes don't get resolved necessarily, because that's between the parties, but where we give people an opportunity to say, hey, I own that song, and then also an opportunity to connect with the people who say that they own that song, or I own this piece, as opposed to you owning this piece. So it's a very complicated world.
Yeah.
With a lot of songs. I mean, imagine all the songs you've ever heard ever.
Everything is going to be in this one collective.
At least in the 20th and 21st century, you're going to have all those songs in this database.
For life. Now, in those cases where you do have a conflict, and so because one of the issues with the DSPs is that they first of all, they didn't know who to pay, and now they'll know who to pay. And then in certain cases where they say, okay, somebody's owed some money, that money is going to kind of go into some sort of escrow account until they sort it out.
But all the songs will be in one big collective starting in January.
Well, they'll be in one big collective. Starting in January is the key, because we've got to build that database. So if you remember when Sound Exchange came online, and what they do is they collect money from webcasters who owe money to artists and labels. One thing we ought to just kind of know is that radio that you listen to in your car, like it's called terrestrial radio, that does not pay artists and labels. It only pays writers and publishers.
Right.
and doesn't pay them very well either, but it doesn't pay artists and labels. Sound Exchange fixed that for satellite radio and webcasters, in that if you play music over the satellite, over satellites, or webcast that music, you also have to pay the artist and the label in addition to the writer and the publisher. They pay that money to Sound Exchange. Sound Exchange goes and finds the artists and the labels and makes sure that they get their money. But it's taken a while for Sound Exchange to build that database of recordings. So it's going to take a while, but they're on the right track.
That's good. That's good.
Great leadership, and they're on the right track to make it happen.
Cool. Well, my sister just came on, so I have to say hi to Kelly. Kelly, my sister was in a big fire, around a big fire in Fairfield, California, and it hit just to the edge of her property, just about, and she had to evacuate. So we were glad to see that she's back. She came back this morning, and
that's fantastic. What a terrible situation.
All is well.
That's good.
Yeah, she's doing pretty good.
Yeah, so that's MMA, and we talked a little about CMTA, and then you're also working with GMA, which does, they're still doing a lot of.
What is GMA?
Yeah.
The Gospel Music Association.
Yeah. The Gospel Music Association, right?
I
Not
ran
Good
it
Morning
for a couple
America.
of years.
You've been on
I
there
ran
for
it
how
for a
long?
couple of years and have been on the board for a long time. But we have this absolutely fabulous leader, Jackie Patillo,
Oh yes,
who you know well.
Yeah, love her.
And she has, we've gone through some ups and downs there, and she has just led well.
Yeah,
and,
she really has.
Yeah,
she is a very close friend of ours, and I know yours as well.
Yes, absolutely. We're glad to see you there. But getting into all of that with Jackie and the GMA and everything that's going on in the social climate that we're in now, we're very concerned about what is the GMA, the Gospel Music Association, and what are we doing as a Christian body and our organizations to come together to deal with some of the things as it pertains to Black Lives Matter, as it pertains to the coronavirus. How are we as an organization pulling all of this together? I know I'm seeing some things on the GMA website and what they're sending to us. But I'm wondering, I've never totally felt, I know Jackie's been working on it, but the cohesion, and I know there were some things that happened with Kirk Franklin a couple of years ago with GMA. And I'm wondering, what are we doing to bring everything together? Are there any initiatives?
I would say there's...
go ahead.
Go first.
I would say, just because I was in those conversations, that a lot has been done and a lot is being done. Even before we had another unfortunate situation with Kirk Franklin this past year, where they edited out part of his acceptance speech. Unfortunately, it was just a bad situation, and Kirk was very gracious and worked through it with us. And Jackie has, as a Black female, has reached out to the gospel community ever since she got on board. But even before she came on, GMA was including more gospel artists on the Dove Awards, trying to increase membership. We created a diversity committee, which is now a gospel committee that Ebony Funderburk is working with. And also,
she's great.
Two wonderful ladies and good friends. And they have expanded that committee to really reach into a variety of different areas of the music community, not just artists. Because a lot of what happens in an industry, the artists are out on the road and they're ministering, and a lot of what happens with label people like Joey or producers or things like that. We've added the producer of the Dove Awards this year is Paul Wright, who is a great, lover of gospel. And then I don't know the name of the director but Jackie picked her, and she is a Black female. And will direct the Dove Awards this year, which is going to be a
Oh,
virtual show
okay.
Which would be good.
that
Yeah.
will be including. It'll air October 30th on TBN, and it will include a lot of gospel acts, and I'm sure pay close attention and give inspiration and do do not credit but due attention to what has happened in our United States of America over the last 3 or 4 months since George Floyd was unfortunately murdered on the streets of Minneapolis. I mean, it's just um, they're doing a lot, and their heart
Yeah.
is right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so but that's not everything. It's got to be an offer, and then there's got to be an acceptance. And so we've got to let people know what's going on and what we're doing as GMA, and then people have got to either accept that and participate, or say thank you for doing it, but we're not going to participate at this point. It's their choice.
Right. Joey, what do you think?
I think Ed knows the guts. He knows the inside of what's going on. I think that there's a generational change going on in our industry that
Okay. That's
that
good.
I think is good, and I think it's going to take a second, longer than it should. But you're seeing some kids come through that really don't have some of the. They're not weeding through some of the things that maybe other people have had to weed through in their lives. Maybe I don't know, but I'm seeing conversations that are starting at different places than when I first moved to town, and that's encouraging.
Okay.
And
That's good.
I'm starting to see songwriting sessions that aren't just Christian or gospel. I'm starting to see other genres hire other genres for mixing and production, and it's not just, hey, let's get Kurt and Toby together and that we're diverse.
Right,
It's like,
that takes care of everything, right?
Yeah,
it's like we're starting at the guts now. We're writing songs together.
Us
We're mixing
together.
songs together. We're hiring people from all different backgrounds, and it's slow. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's slow, but I do sense for the first time in a while not only an openness to it, but an aggressive desire for it, which is encouraging for me. And it hasn't always been that way, for sure.
But you're seeing it. I mean, just in our world, I deal mostly in Southern gospel, but our distribution company deals in all the genres.
Right.
I had a group called the Wardlaw Brothers who sent me a song, and I hope to have it available for you today. But we want to release it a little bit later, so we can't world premiere it here. But the Wardlaw Brothers sent me a song called "Nine Makes Us One," and it's about the fruits of the Holy Spirit, but it's also about everybody getting together,
Right.
and that those 9 gifts really make us one people.
Right.
Regardless of our skin color, regardless of anything else, it makes us one people. And I put them together with a Legacy 5, which is a fantastic male quartet that records on our label. So you've got the Wardlaw Brothers, who are a bunch of brothers who, I think there's 5 of them, who sing in the gospel circuit. And you got Legacy 5, who sings in the Southern gospel circuit. They came together and recorded this song together. And we had, our engineer, Justin Krupp, work with Tyrone Dickerson, who has been a gospel producer for years and produces I don't know if you know it or not, but we do all the Soulful Sounds tracks that people use to sing in church. That's our company.
Yes, you guys have had that forever.
Right.
But Tyrone is the producer and has been since day one. So he hires all of the musicians, he hires the background singers, and they try to make it as authentic as the original, really. He's done a fantastic job. But we put those guys together. So when we walk in and we see this, 12 to 13 person group, of mixed races and mixed genres, and it's just, that's how it should be. I mean, it doesn't have to be that way all the time in terms of being mixed like that. But man, when we should, and we did.
Right. When we can. I got a question too, because one of the things that kind of, one of the subtle things that you do, especially in award shows and things like that, is what do you relegate to off-camera awards and and what do you relegate to on-camera awards? And so, and I know that's an area that, it's a difficult decision to make, but whether there's some sensitivity in terms of, especially with GMA and the Dove Awards, that they give the appropriate recognition to, to gospel artists as well as, the Christian artists and so on. So I'm just saying, in some of the things going forward, is there some sensitivity or thought given to that, and in terms of addressing, on-air versus off-air awards?
But I'd like to add one thing to that too. And another question on top of that is, what do you think about the fact that artists want to express themselves in political terms, and it's not going to go away after what happened this last year on award shows? It seems like there's a real hesitancy. Some people are saying, oh, this can't be political. And yet when you look at sports and you look at other music shows, artists are giving their personal feelings about politics and all kinds of things that are concerning us. Like I said, from Corona to just everything. I mean, anything can come up. How do you think you guys are going to deal with that in the future? All of those things, including what you pick as being on screen and off.
I know there's a couple of questions there, but go ahead.
I'll address the toughest one first, and that is probably, how do you deal with artists who want to express themselves on an award show? And what we have found is that it's really up to what the network wants their award show to be. So this particular network, TBN, is a great Christian network. They're all over the world. They do great Christian programming. They don't shy away from racial discussions. Matter of fact, Kirk Franklin had a whole show after all this happened. He had a whole show with Matt Crouch, and they are, Matt and his wife are very accepting to all. I mean, and they have been for years. Most of their audience is a gospel audience, for instance. I know this because we've done some things with them in the past with talent searches, and half the contestants coming from TBN were gospel artists. So that is a matter of preference for them as to what they want an award show to look like versus what they want a show to look like that discusses these issues. And that difference, that line, if you will, is where we've run into trouble with artists, who GMA doesn't mind if they speak their mind, but if our TV partner would rather that be done in a different setting, then we need to respect that, because they're the people whose airwaves we are going across. Now, if they didn't care, or they didn't have that kind of control, or we were on a network that said, come one, come all, say whatever you want, then I think the Doves would be certainly open to that, provided that it was done tastefully in the way that Kirk has done it. Yeah. He is just a wonderful communicator, and has done great things.
Well,
but
it's interesting that the Christian broadcasting platform, shies away from certain kinds of discussions, especially with artists who are, they are influencers. What they say does matter.
Patrick Henderson here saying.
Echoing what Patrick Henderson has said. And so it's just kind of curious that they would impose certain censorship on the artists and say, hey, this is your path, you stay here. And this is, like what that lady told LeBron, shut up and dribble. Yeah, is that kind of
like, I think for some people.
So if that offensive, it's offensive in that way that says, hey, let me finish. Said that it's offensive because they say that, hey, somehow what you say, your Christian experience can't speak to certain things that are very relevant and very present in what we're living in today.
Well, here's what I know about.
I think it's gonna. Go ahead.
Here's what I know about TBN. TBN would be willing anytime, any place to have that discussion on air. I think they would just rather not do it during the Dove Awards. They want to make it about music, inspiring people through music, and not bring
Yeah.
politics into it. That's just their opinion. And if we
Right.
want to
I
play
think it's,
ball with them, then that's how we,
then that's,
you
yeah,
know.
it's going to be real interesting though, only
Okay.
because the other
The other networks don't do that.
networks,
Don't do that.
their artists, for some of the other shows, they get up and say
Right.
little things sometimes. So I don't know. It's going to be an
True.
interesting.
Now, what about on-air and off-air awards?
Awards. Okay, so I know, you know, you try to get as much music in an award show as you possibly can, and therefore it limits the awards typically to 6 or 7 that happen on screen. And you've got your major ones like your Artist of the Year, your New Artist of the Year, your song and album in general, which, you know, there is no racial or genre barrier to those awards. And then what they try to do is they try to take the other genres. So usually you'll see a gospel, either Gospel Artist of the Year, which I think is what Kirk won last year, or a Southern Gospel Artist of the Year, or maybe a CCM Artist of the Year, and then you have your overall, or maybe they'll do a Spanish language album of the year, and they'll try to get those genres and that diversity in those awards. So about if it's 4 core awards and 3, let's say, genre awards, that's how they'll do it typically. And in the 4 core awards, they're not precluded. Nobody's precluded from being in those categories. Right. It's just who the membership has voted. So the greater the gospel membership in the GMA, the more likely there will be more
gospel representatives,
more gospel artists in the list.
Right.
You know, it's kind of works out that way, and because it's all voted by members, and if there's not a big representation of membership, that's why I'm always a big proponent of join up.
Yeah.
If you want to see change,
Become
you
a
join
member.
up.
Right.
But everything that I've said so far this year, I think on the Dove Awards, they will address things directly. Yeah. I think that the format that it's going to be done in, which I think everybody will enjoy, since it can't be a live show. I think there will be some addressing of issues. They're not going to skirt around it. It is what we live in and what we're facing, and the fact that something needs to happen now. Change has to happen.
Right. Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that, because from my perspective, is at least people give consideration. It's not like it's being ignored or put under cover. But say, hey, it's out here. Let's address it. And not everybody can do something, but I think a lot of times if people just say, hey, we care, and we understand, and we're sensitive to this is going on, and to the best that we can, we'll try to address it in our way.
I would say that is the exact spirit of the GMA at its board.
Excellent.
So,
well, you guys, I guess we have some exciting news for everybody, and but Joy, first, you told me about this, and I hope it's okay to talk about it. Was just even kind of, I was wondering how your kids are going through all this. We both have children now that are, that are older and can start.
I'm just thinking of Ed, who's got a whole bunch.
Yeah, Ed is famous in our groups and in our circles. There's two. There's Bryant from Ty Scott.
They're running neck to neck.
Brian Scott.
It's Ty and Ed, who has more children now. Because
I have more, but he's gaining on me. He just had a new baby.
I know.
He's gaining on me.
So what, he has like 7 girls. Bryant Scott from Ty Scott.
He's got 6 or 7 kids, and 7, I mean,
yeah. And you've got what, 9?
I've got 9.
We have 2. And I mean,
Joey, how many do you have?
3.
Oh,
Oh, so
good.
you're
But
kind
your three are right in that critical junction now in
Yeah.
terms of transitioning.
Yeah,
but
they
you
are.
were telling me an interesting story too about your son wearing a Black Lives Matter. I think it's very interesting to me how so many young kids who are not Black are have things to say and are interested in all of these things and how this might be changing the industry. Joy, what do you think about all that? I think.
No, I think we kind of touched on it a little bit. Like I know my kids, they definitely, we have a lot. Our dinner tables where we sometimes have 3 hour dinners at our house. We talk about
Well,
everything, and we try not to make any subject a taboo subject. And yeah, like they're I think I hope everybody takes this the right way. Because I don't want to get too political here, but I
why
think
not?
I
We
think
have
if
to.
there's, I was saying this to you guys, I think before, I think if there's anything good that's happened these last 4 years, and there's probably been some way more than I'm giving credit, is I think we're beginning to see what everybody feels. I think there's been a curtain lifted and almost like a pass to kind of say, hey, this is who I am, this is what I feel. When before, a lot of people it would go unsaid, their actions would speak it, but maybe their words didn't. And so
Right.
my kids are really seeing it with whether it be family members or friends or whatever. They're seeing some things, and we're having a lot of conversations right now about about that. Like, oh, I didn't know Aunt so and so thought that way. Like, yeah, man. And
I can
and
imagine.
oh,
No,
it's
that's so
nuts.
true. No, I,
Yeah,
I agree completely with you, Joe. That what something is happening that's forcing us to express where we really are,
yeah.
and so it's kind of you no more hiding
No more
undercover
hiding, man.
anymore. There's no more
Yeah,
undercover.
no,
It is what it
it's
is,
getting all
and,
out there now.
and I think it's a good preliminary uh, place to start from, so you can you talk about real change, real issues, and people can really say, this is really where I'm at, and this is why, and you can speak to it. You can
Yeah,
address it.
Well,
yeah.
I think that on top of that, I think we're going to listen to two songs. But before that, we have a big announcement that, let's see, Joy, you want to make it? You can talk about it.
Yeah, talk about
No,
that.
man. We have a podcast coming, and
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was named by the people that are on the other end of this. It's called the Coin, right? It's called the
Yep.
It's,
Coin,
it's,
and
it's,
we're gonna.
it's the three of them.
Uh, well, we're gonna have a lot of guests. I'm sure Claude will be.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Claude will be a part of it a lot. And we're talking about even having Vicky's dad come on every once in a while, which
Oh,
would be
yeah. Oh,
amazing to have that. And I think we're just gonna talk about just kind of what we're doing right now. What Vicky said, just talk, guys. Just don't worry about just talking. And hopefully we can just have a really open forum of just laying it out there, not being afraid of any subject, and having a lot of laughs, maybe a few tears,
yes.
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah,
everything, man.
yeah,
So
there's going to be some tears because all of us are not for one candidate. I think we represent uh, both
Yes.
both sides of the coin again.
yeah,
Uh, we've got some Democratic and some Republican feel, some pro Biden Harris and some pro Trump Pence. And to be able to get us all together to talk about some of these issues now, I think is going
yeah.
to be exciting. What do you guys think online? It's that we sit and really start tackling some of these
No,
issues.
I think it's a great idea. Ed and Vicky have been talking about this for a while,
So,
and
yeah,
its time has come. And it's good to get two different perspectives. I mean, it's but it might be surprising sometimes how much you might agree.
might
Yeah,
have to.
And then,
But we
yeah,
don't have in common this presidential election.
But one thing's for sure, what we have in common is that we respect each other very much.
Yes,
completely.
And
yes.
so I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong, and you may tell me that I'm wrong. And
I
I'm not
might
going to
tell
tell
you
you
that
that you're wrong.
I might just tell you that you're wrong, but
Hopefully make a
And
compelling
you know
argument.
what? I'm open to that. That's what
well,
dialogue
hopefully
is
you tell
about.
me
That's
I'm
what it's
wrong
supposed
too.
to be.
Yeah.
Dialogue that lets me
Right.
know
Dialogue.
whether
Between
there's
the
something
two.
I'm wrong about, or I'm thinking it the
Right.
wrong way. Give me
Yeah,
perspective.
and I think that's something that's sadly missing.
Yep.
Is a dialogue. It's either you don't think the way I think, then you're bad. You're this, you're that,
Right.
and there's no dialogue. And I think it's something that's really missing. And who knows? Like I said, you know there might be some insights you have, and that enlightens me, and
And I,
then
yeah.
and vice versa. So, but the dialogue I think is key, and that we should, as Christians, we should, because of the love we have for one another, we should be able to have dialogue.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key.
And I don't think we have any yes men here or people that are afraid to talk about what needs to be talked about. I don't think we have anybody that's trying to be really politically correct either. We're just really going to talk about the issues that we need to talk about. But in that line, both of you guys have songs that we want to hear. Joy, why don't you start us off with your song? What's the title of it, and talk about it a little bit before we hear it?
Yeah, it's an artist we have called Tarian. She's a girl from Memphis, and we're just really excited about Tarian. She's it seems so cliche because all labels say this, but she's a young girl, but she's got an old soul, and she's got a big heart, and she's got a lot to say. She's quiet, but when you get to know her, she says a lot. And this was a song that was kind of written between her and another artist called Aaron Cole. And this song found its way onto a really great playlist, a big Black Lives Matter playlist on Spotify, and it had a moment. It had a moment for sure for like a month and a half, 2 months, and we're just proud of this girl. She's a brand new artist. We've been working with her for a little over a year now, and we love her.
Well, we're going to play it on our playlist too. That's coming out called Vicki Mack's Wax Tracks. And we have a couple playlists. One's crossover playlist, and the other one is the other playlist is called The Movement. And so we're trying to take songs that, well, we're not trying. We are putting songs that just encapsulate what's going on now. So our producer, Shami's in the back, and she's going to play a little bit of it.
Nice.
Can you guys hear that? Does it sound all right? Can you hear it? What happened? That was a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Look, we're gonna see if we can get a little bit more. How are you guys liking that?
Great.
Sorry about that.
No matter how long the road, even when it's not comfortable.
Oh, the artist's name again?
Tarian. Tarian.
Nothing if we don't have love. Let love me, oh, let love me, yeah. Oh, let love me. He wasn't born another, a mother's only son, no father that he knew. Where does he turn to? Something will fill that space. The streets will indoctrinate. The love of God he craves. We can't turn.
Oh, well, let's turn that down now. Did you guys get to hear enough of it?
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah,
She's got a great voice.
Yeah,
her name is what? It's Tyrion, and where can we find it?
Oh yeah, it's everywhere. It's Tarian. A lot of people will pronounce it terrain, but that's wrong. It's Tarian.
It's T-E-R-R or T-E-R?
Terrian.
Oh, okay. That's
Tyrion.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, Ed, you've
And
got
you
a
guys,
song for us that you'd like us to hear too, right?
Yeah, there was when
yeah,
GMA did their Love Goes Viral, um, this song got put in there, and it's by a group of ours called The Sound, which they got their first Dove nomination this year, and it's two young guys from Michigan and their dad,
Michigan.
and it's the Mills family, Rob Mills and Levi and Jacob, and man, they are just phenomenal. And you're gonna. Well, I picked this song very quickly because it's raining where we are, and so that's the name of the song.
I guess I
It's
see
called,
that on the roof. Okay, it's
Yeah.
raining.
and we've certainly been through a lot of rain this year, so I thought it would be appropriate.
Okay, all right. Is that it?
I can't hear it.
Uh-oh, we'll try. Is that it?
Oh no, this is an even better song. This is called First Church of Mercy. Listen to this one.
Okay, this is First Church of Mercy.
He saw the ones around him move when he sat down. As the music softly played Amazing Grace. Last night's fall off the wagon left bruises on his face. So when he felt a hand on his shoulder, he thought he'd hear, come back when you're sober. But a friendly voice said, we're glad you're here. Welcome to the First Church of Mercy, where the doors of love swing open wide. No matter who you are, no matter what you've done, you can come inside. Welcome to the altar of forgiveness, where the fallen can fall and tears are wiped away. Welcome to the First Church of Mercy. Take a seat on the front row of grace. You don't have to have it all together here. There's a lot of us who've been right where you are.
Wow. That's really beautiful.
Yeah, those guys are really amazing. This song is called First Church of Mercy, and it's about
First Church of Mercy.
the acceptance of God for everyone, no matter where you are. It's really great. They've been matter of fact, when they did that Love Goes Viral thing with the song Rain, Mandisa came on and really just loved on them, and Cochran and Co., which is your group, New Artist of the Year nominee for Cochran and Co. They said some great things about them too. So
wow. Well, we've got some exciting things. We're gonna have to get back together. People are gonna have to visit us on the coin because
do you have a time frame for the coin?
it's coming soon, huh?
Coming soon.
Soon and very soon.
coming very soon. But we had wanted to talk a little bit more about how the music industry is changing, because we did notice that you guys were talking more about being service companies and selling products, not just music these days. So we're gonna have to get a lot more into that. And how did you guys like this? Do you want some more of this to the our listeners here?
I love it.
Some shout outs, Mom.
Okay, yeah, we've got Mary. Jonathan McReynolds was on. That's great.
Oh, nice. Wow.
Dion Kipping.
Dion.
Yeah, who else?
C. Barrett.
C. Barrett.
C. You know C. Manager C.
Yeah, big.
Okay, so we
C.
of course Patrick Henderson and Alicia from A1 Swift. I don't know if you guys remember Patrick Henderson, but for the urban community, for the Black community, he's kind of the father of worship and praise. He did Saints
Nice.
in Praise and Little Saints in Praise and all
Nice.
of that with Wes Angeles. So he's on, and
Nice.
we've got D Maestro and so many other
I think
people.
Dusty, our A&R guy, Dusty Wells, was on there.
Oh
Dusty?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
Did you guys see some
Dusty
other
joined
people? What was